Hi, I'm attorney Vincent Davis, and I've been fighting CPS for over 35 years. Through my years of experience, I've gained invaluable insights that I'm ready to share with you. If you're a parent or a caregiver or a relative, we need to talk. I'm offering a new opportunity for you to speak with me on a one-on-one basis. Ask me any questions, and I'll provide you with the insight you need to take steps in your CPS case. Members get everything they need to gain confidence and the knowledge that they need to support necessary to truly fight back. And as a special thank you for attending, I have a special offer just for you. Don't miss out, join us, and let's take that next step together. I'll see you at the question and answer event.
Good evening and welcome. I'm Bob Pace. I'm your host to fight CPS and stop taking our children. You just heard from the attorney that produces this podcast and came up with the idea of the podcast and put it all together. And I want to give many thanks to Vincent Davis. He was just talking about a Zoom meeting on Saturday. And it's open. If you're not a member, there was a link to join to be a member, and then it costs nothing. And then there's a fee if you want to see the podcast and listen to some insights that he has. Now, it's at 10 o'clock, and normally I have my show at 10 o'clock, but I want to give him to have all the energy that can come to his show. So I moved my show to 8 o'clock on Saturday. Now, I'm on 7 days a week, Sunday through Monday. It's twice a day. Typically, I'm on at 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific Standard Time for 1 hour. And then in the evening, I'm at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for 1 hour. But on a couple days during the week, there are some changes. On Friday, we go to it's Friday Night Lights for high school football. And my son's school has a very important game that night. We'll be at the game. So my podcast will come on at 4 o'clock in the afternoon instead of normally at 7. And then on Saturday, instead of being on at 10, I'm going to be on at 8. So it gives more chance for people to see Mr. Davis's Zoom podcast. And then Sunday, I have church, so I'll be on at 8 o'clock. And so those are only 3 days. Now, there are 14 shows. And, try to be different. Each show is. I have some things that tell you how they interact with this podcast. I have 5 rules. I also have topics that talk about who is a CPS worker, what their MO is, and how the CPS work. And my case, my family case involved with CPS, I was in there too. There's a lot of things we can talk about. We have Core Digest, which is a question answer type series where we read a question and there's an answer provided, and then we try to determine if that's a good answer or not. It's all about CPS questions. So there's a lot I can do on this podcast, and I want all of you to feel comfortable, relax, take off your shoes, and think about some things you'd like to see happen tonight. I have over 50 topics that I could talk about, such as the ICWA, the Indian Child Welfare Act of 1978, or a 388 motion, or anything else like, how to file a complaint at the local level, the state level, and the federal level, and so forth. So there's a lot I can do and a lot can talk. Now, there's 4 ways you interact with this podcast. One of the first ways is just you found the room. You're in this room. It's great. You can listen and take notes. The second way is to text comments in, and you can text comments that talk about your case or about CPS in general. The third way is you can be a guest on our podcast, and I'll talk about how to do that in more depth there. The final way is I'll have a phone number, and I got my old Vonage number back. They finally got my Vonage fixed after 2 weeks. I don't know, it's been 2 or 3 weeks. They still haven't fixed Vonage. You can't text on it. So I tried to text some messages from people that called in. I had a lot of people that called in this past 2 weeks. I saw about 40 calls, and I'm sorry that I wasn't able to take your call. I had uh, another phone number, but yesterday or this morning it was really a problem, and then it's been a problem lately on it too. So um, hopefully you hear me okay. I hope I'm loud enough, and so we can get started with one of the first things I'd like to talk about. And hello, Jesse Lake. Hey, you're from Missouri. What part of Missouri are you from? Glad to have you, Jesse Lake. So glad to have you. And we'll let you answer your question very shortly as soon as I get through 4 ways to interact with this podcast. And as I said, one of the first ways is you enter the room, Columbia, Missouri. Okay. Columbia, Missouri. Okay, welcome. We'll be right with you, Jesse. You might want to think to formulate a good question. I'm the one with the 2 sets of twins that the director adopted. Yes, I remember you. I remember you now. I'd like to hear more of an update, and I warmly welcome you. Well, first of all, I use the name CPS all the time. What does CPS mean? It's the Child Protection System. That's what CPS means. Every county and every place will have different acronyms. They'll have the Department of Children's Services, like in Arizona. They'll have the cabinet in Kentucky. In California, it's the Child Protection Services. But every place has different acronyms. And so it'd be very hard for me to sit here and call all the different acronyms. There's 50 states, and probably half of them have different names. So when I say CPS, I mean the Child Protection System. What that entails is a government branch of social services that is mandated by Congress to have, it's a part of social services, to have social workers protect our children from neglect or abuse. They're like watchdogs, and they're supposed to be pretty fair and honest people. Also, they're supposed to help a family in need. And what I mean by that is that if you need food or clothing or shelter or transportation, or you need education, or you need medical, they will provide that. Also, they'll help you find a job. The social services has been really busy the past couple of years because we've had open borders, and they just have had a lot of people that they've had to enroll in school and everything else. So our country's been inundated by several million people that have come into the country, and hopefully we'll get a control on it. Hopefully people now are more concerned about the border than they have been the last 4 years. 4 years ago, we had a really good tight hold on the border, and a lot of things that were enacted were erased, and then they regret, and the new administration tried to bail it out at the last win. But anyway, politics is really all over the place, and this is not the place to talk about politics. Okay, hi KK, and welcome. She's from Brooklyn, New York. That's all right, KK. You can call me Barb. But KK, I tried to tune in to your show at after midnight at 12:15 midnight. That was AM in the morning, and I tried to listen to your show, but I couldn't find you on Facebook. Both Faye and I tried for a good hour to find your show, so we weren't able to hear you. You're going to have to give us more details, because we looked up your name and looked up on Facebook. But anyway, KK is a regular. She has a case where she's got them on the ropes, but they're still trying to fight back. It's pretty bad. And so I'm glad to have you, Jesse, and KK Richardson, or Akima Richardson. Both of you are welcome in there. Now, while you're in this room, this first place here, you can do emojis. That means thumbs up, smiley faces, and hearts. Those are always good to send. And then also, if you think I'm doing a good job, you can send stars. You can send stars. Please check below to follow me. And then if you want to be notified when I'm live, check the notification button. And so that's your first place there. Now, I do have a phone number that's on my left-hand screen From my side, it's your right side there. And that 888-888-6582 is the law office of Vincent W. Davis Associates. It's on there all the time. Write that number down because that is an important number there. Yay, Natalie, thank you. You've gotten better now. She's taking guava juice. Natalie is a single mom from West Hollywood, California. So we have New York, we have Missouri, and we have California in the room. And I'm from California too. This show is being broadcast live from Surf City, USA on the West Coast. And I'm about 3 blocks from the ocean. So it's kind of nice where I live because we don't have the extreme heats that everybody has. We have that Pacific Ocean that works like an ice tray. Wind blows across the Pacific Ocean and blows up cold air. So that's really kind of good there. And I know your internet was down. I'm glad to see it's up again. I got my phone up too, Natalie. It's my phone number. That's my Vonage phone number. I'll show that in just a minute. And KK's here too. So guava juice is a great thing there. So I really welcome all of you. And I know how you are struggling. And I feel for you. I too struggled. And I know what you're going through. And hopefully this room is something that can help you. So anyway, the number I gave you is the number of my office. You can call them. Make sure you tell them that Bob Pace sent you. And if you need an attorney for any kind of legal matter, especially if you need help in dependency, which is the court that you're in right now, Family Juvenile Dependency Court. That's the number to call. And we have one of the greatest attorneys there, Vincent Davis, that you can retain him. I also have ways that you can have private consultation with him, and I'll tell you about that soon. But I wanted to tell you about that number that's there, and that can be called, and they'll hook you up there. Now, the second way is to do comments, like I said before. Now, the comments, I'm going to show that on my screen. It says, when typing in the comments, you should try to do your comments and questions that pertain to CPS. We're here to talk about the child protection system. And before I forget, we were talking about how they're supposed to protect and your children from neglect and abuse, and also to help you out with aid. I forgot one important thing, the third thing. If they need to take your family apart through imminent danger, they need to do family reunification. Those are the three main purposes of the social service of the child protection system. 1, to protect our children. 2, to offer aid. And 3, to do family reunification. And so they're supposed to do that. But I'm afraid I'm letting the cat out of the bag or what it is. Not all CPS workers or offices are cooperating or working like that. I'm afraid to tell you that the majority of the cases, and at least over 500 people I've talked to, have said that they are corrupt, and they are. There's no accountability. The money flows from the federal government to the state, down to the counties. No one is watching. There's no watchdog. There's no watchdog like a group of supervisors or chairmen or board of directors or anything watching anything. There's no accountability. They do what they want. And I hate to say it, they've become a rogue organization. They're worse than the IRS. And the Child Protection Agency will take your children. They'll traffic your children into foster care, and they will alienate you from your parents, alienate the children from the parents. Those two things are against the law. You're not allowed to traffic children. It's against the law. But the Child Protection System has figured a way to do it. They use the Child Protection System and make up stories and do outlandish things. Whether you're having a baby in the emergency room and they haul the baby away, still attached with the umbilical cord, or they come bursting into your home and take your child. There's awful things that these social workers have done. They've intimidated you, and the foster care is just as bad. And I tell that from firsthand experience, and also from the people that are in this room. I'm pretty sure KK and Natalie can help elude that. So anyway, when you type in a comment or a question, please show me your first name. You may say, well, my name's already on there on my Facebook or my YouTube account. Well, your name may be something that's off the wall that's hard for me to pronounce, or maybe it's a cause you're fighting. You may be dancing with wolves or over the rainbow or some other expression that you're trying to do. All I want is a simple name: Bob, Ted, Carol, Alice, Mary, Bill, Jesse, KK. Those are all easy names. So I want your first name, and then I want the city or the county your case is in. The city or the county. So if you don't want to do the city, the county's fine. Or if you want to do the city, that's fine. Make sure you follow with the state. I'm trying to get a position with all the cases throughout the United States to see where there's pockets of good CPS or bad CPS. And so far, it's a lot of bad CPS I found. It is a heartbreak to hear some of your parents. It's a heartbreak to hear some of the people that come into this room that share the story, like Faye of Richmond, Kentucky, who was a foster child, and she was in and out 5 times. She was trafficking, she was raped, she was molested, she was physically abused and taken advantage of. Somehow she found it in herself to get a high school education and then a college degree in nursing. And she's trying to get herself better now. But she had some children. She had 2 children, a boy and a girl. And the boy is a special need. And she had to make a choice. That's how bad and corrupt that Richmond, Kentucky is. It's either you keep your son who's a special needs, or you keep your young daughter. She was like 3 at the time when she had to give up her daughter. And now she's finally got, after 13 years, the on-bus person to finally talk to her about her case. She wants to get the message to her daughter that she did not abandon her daughter, that she still loves her daughter, and that she always will be her mother. So I know what it is to lose children. I've already lost a couple myself. So I've been there, I've been experiencing there. So also, I have countries that have texted in, and these countries have come from around the world, 14 of them. I've had Bangladesh, New Delhi, India, someplace in the Middle East, but it was all in Arabic, and I don't speak Arabic, so I don't know how to translate it into a country. And then there's been the continent of Africa, and I've had Liberia at the north, on the west coast in the north of Africa. I've had Rwanda, who is at Central East Africa, and then I have Mozambique on the east coast across from Madagascar, and then the province of South Africa on the west coast. Then moving up to Europe, I've had England, Scotland, Wales, part of the United Kingdom, and then Denmark and Sweden. And then running across the pond, I've had North America, I've had Canada, several of the provinces, east side and west side of Canada. And then I've had the United States. All 50 states have called in since a year ago when I started this. So I've even had Washington, D.C., a horrific, terrible story in Washington, D.C. A woman was raped twice. Once that she was in her new home that HUD had given her, and then when she was in police custody, she was raped. It was terrible, and she lost her child. I mean, I've heard this horrific stories. They're so bad. They're so bad. Anyway, going across down to Mexico, I've had Mexico called in. Mexico City. And then I've had Grenada down in South America, east of Venezuela, north of Brazil, on the east coast of South America. Then across the Pacific to the land down under, I've had Australia, and I've had the east coast, the Gold Coast at Sydney, Australia, then the south coast at Melbourne in the state of Victoria. And so I've had a well-verse of people, that I've talked to, and all of them have something in common: how corrupt and how horrible CPS has been. It's not a pleasant sight. It really isn't. Also, I was hoping that You also can share a little bit of your story to make it go fast and quick. In the beginning, with your name and so forth, just say a little bit about your family history, like I'm a single parent or I'm a husband, wife, and or I'm one parent and the other parent's not interested, or the kids have different parents, and then that's your family makeup, and then what are the children's ages and sexes, and then what were the allegations, more than just negligence and abuse, and then also how were they taken? Did you give up the children? They come into your home? Did you take them to the office? How did you lose your children if you did lose your children? And lastly, where are you at in your case? Are you the middle, the beginning, the end? So if you could do that with your message text in, also when you call in too. So I'm going to give you my call in number. Now, the third way is to schedule to be a guest. And I really encourage you to be a guest because we have a, excuse me, we have an incentive for you to call in as a guest. And what I mean by that is that we'll reward you with some free time with Vincent Davis. Yes, that's right, free time, 15 minutes worth. Well, to be a guest, all you're going to do is contact my show producer. She works behind the scenes. Her name is Grace. She works really hard, and I want to public thank her for all she does, and thank you very much. But she will help you get on the show as a guest. You just email her. You pick one of my 14 shows. It's easy, morning or evening, Sunday through Monday. You just pick it. It's real easy. And then you send it to the email of grace@vincentwdavis.com. That's grace@vincentwdavis.com. And she'll take care of the rest. She'll give you a link. I'm broadcasting on YouTube, but I'm using the StreamYard application. So she'll give you the link to the StreamYard application, and you'll get on it. And if you get booted, hang on to that link because you get back on for the life of the show. That link is good. Further, she'll tell you what to do and not to do, like there's no eating or smoking on the show. We don't use the names of children, social workers, or judges on the show. So she'll tell you what to say, what to do. She'll help you with your mic, your volume, and your pictures, any of your questions you have. Try to use your computer. If you don't have a computer, a phone is acceptable. So be a guest, because if you are a guest, you're going to get 15 minutes of time with Mr. Davis. 15 minutes of consultation time free. He'll talk to you for 15 minutes and help you with strategies and what to do about your case. And maybe you have a question you have to ask him. You know, maybe you have that one question you want to ask him. He's available. And as I say, it's for 15 minutes for free. All you need to do is get your name, email, and phone number, and I'll give it to Grace, and then Grace will take care of the rest. She'll take care of the rest for you. So that's a bonus. We're trying to get more people as a guest. I can have up to 9 people as a guest on my podcast, and that is so that is good. So anyway, let's move on from the guest to the to my phone number. Now, this is so great to have my Vonage back again. I've been really lost without the phone number. So what's going to happen is I'm going to put my phone number, and it's going to be live. That's my office number. We use Vonage, which is our application. It's 626-698-0990. That's my Vonage phone number. And you can call in and talk about your case. And also, you'll qualify to get a free 15 minutes with Mr. Davis if you call in. So whether you're a guest or you call in, you get a free 15-minute Davis with a 15-minute with there. So the phone line's open. Now, don't call before the show or after the show because I can't answer it. And right now, I can't text you guys because our texting's down. We'll hope to get it fixed shortly. It's been down for a month or two here. So I know I tried to text Grace and it wasn't going through. But anyway, that's the number. So that number will stay up there, and you can call in. So your choices, you can text a message, you can, stay in the room and just listen, or you can call in, or you can make comments. So those are the 4 ways And again, I welcome you warmly. I want you all to feel relaxed. I know it's stressful and everything on that. And there's lots of ways I can do with this podcast. Now, going over my list, we had one of the first people in the room was Jessica Lake. Now, she's from Columbia, Missouri. She's been on before, and she had two sets of twins where the director adopted her. Now, I think Jessie Lake is the woman that is part of the Oklahoma Cherokee tribe. Jessica, is that you or is that somebody else? I'm trying to remember because there was a state attorney general that's also the lead chief of the Cherokee. There's a conflict of interest there, but I'm not sure if that's you, Jessica. But you're welcome to text me a comment or the call back in. Now, Akima, I'd like to get an update. I'm sorry I missed your show. I really wanted to hear it. Natalie, if you want to have something new that you got that you want to talk about, I'm glad you're feeling better. And and you got your cat. Glad to have your cat. Okay. And she says in California, less than 30% reunification kids from court. That's a sad statistics. It should not be that way. Reunification should be the number one goal of the Child Protection Agency. And I'm sad to hear that. That is not right. That's not right. Yes, it is a federal crime to traffic kids, but they use foster care and they use a ruse and they get away with it. Okay, so now there's one person that's kind of missing tonight. That is Faye. I'm going to see if she can come. She works so hard and she's helped me so much on this show. So is anybody going to call in or do you want me to talk about my topics? You want to talk about my rules? I have 5 rules, by the way, that will help you. I also have all these topics, lots of topics. I have over 50 tabs opened up that I can talk about just about anything that you can come up with. I find that the internet is a valuable tool and a resource for CPS. I've learned a lot from the internet. I wish I had done the internet back when I got involved with CPS. My involvement with CPS was really bad. Here we go. We got a call coming in. Hi, Natalie.
Hi, Bob. How are you? I'm in the middle of the living room.
Okay.
Fixing the cart.
Okay. Is my voice coming
What?
through? Is my voice coming
Yeah,
through?
it's coming great. And here is Britney Spears' attorney's silicone ice cube.
Well, we want to keep on CPS, Natalie.
I know, but Britney Spears had a CPS case.
I know she did, but we really want to talk about either about your case or other cases or something that's come up because I want the other people to use the phone too. KK Richardson, I want to hear an update, and also Jessica, I want to hear an update there too. So,
yes.
First of all, what would you like me to talk about tonight? I
think the best thing is like how the social workers manage to manipulate, and also the medical trafficking, how they manipulate you to think that you're the one who's causing the abuse, but meanwhile, the hospital staff is doing it.
Well, this
Or, you
has
know what I
been,
mean?
yeah, this has been my rule number 4 when I talk about don't talk to social workers, don't let them in your home, and don't give up your children. I also talk about medical trafficking. And for all you that don't
Yes.
know what I'm talking about, lately, parents have been taking their children into the emergency room or urgent care with a child with a high fever or some type of urgent care that needs to be done. And what's happening is that social workers are hanging out there and preying on families and taking their kids away. So when you go there, don't surrender your child. They need a warrant to take your child from you. You don't, in fact, don't
They
even
need a
talk to a
warrant.
social worker. They don't talk to a social warrant, and you don't. Just leave the hospital. There's no
And
law
you
that
can't
you're
leave the
breaking.
hospital. In my case, I couldn't leave the hospital because my baby
Well,
was
let me
very sick.
explain to what your case was. You had suspected a mental issue, meaning that they can
Right.
keep you for 72 hours. They had a false arrest made by a sheriff who didn't really know her police work and arrested you falsely, saying that you're a crazy woman. And they do that a
Right.
lot. They try to depict people as being crazy. And,
They
you know,
always do that at CPS.
Right.
They can't, because they can't find anything on you if you don't have like any criminal past or parking tickets or whatever. They do that.
Well, what happened, I think, in your case too, did someone open the door or did your brother, or how'd the door get open?
I opened the door. I opened the door to the house because they kept banging and banging, and then the police, the sheriff, and then afterwards, I actually had someone in here with me with the kids because I finished taking a shower. So
Right.
so
You're in
then
your bathrobe when
afterwards,
you greeted the door. Here's the thing
yeah.
is that I tell people don't answer the door. Not only because it may be CPS or the police, that you could lose your life. I've heard too many cases lately where a sheriff comes because they suspect that violence has taken place, domestic violence, and they had the wrong place. Meanwhile, the black man, the Air Force man in Florida, opens the door and he's shot point blank 5 times, and he dies on FaceTime talking to his girlfriend. That's no way to investigate domestic violence. That is an overpowered overkill. There's so many times I've seen the police that have gone overboard. And this is true with CPS. They go out of their way to try to take children from parents. And one of them is this medical trafficking. You go in to have your baby, you arrange your room. You should have it set up in your room that only you allow the people you want in there. You do not allow social workers or policemen to come into your room. You tell hospital staff, please excuse these people. Tell them to wait in the lobby. If they don't have a warrant, they can't do anything. You can ask for your constitutional rights. One way I'm trying to tell people is say, I want to work with you. I want to help you, but I need to have my attorney present. Now, you may not have an attorney. Don't worry. They don't know you do. But just saying you want to have your attorney present and you have some time, so get their name and information, check their ID because they use bogus names. And that goes with policemen, check their badge number. But you can get help. Meanwhile, you can look for an attorney, but you should get an attorney. And I don't know how important I really have said that because, CPS is so corrupt. Working with CPS or dealing with CPS is like open heart surgery. If you know, open heart surgery is a very difficult process. It involves a professional, a doctor that went to medical school, that got an internship, that got his license, and he mentored with another doctor before he opened up your chest. That's the kind of individual you need, not a medical doctor, but a professional attorney that's schooled in dependency, family, juvenile law. That's juvenile, family, dependency law. That's the area you're in. You need someone to do that. And an easy way to find that individual, an easy way, is first ask them, are you a family juvenile dependency attorney? And your second question should be, have you ever did a civil lawsuit against them in federal or state court? If the answer is yes, and if they won their case, then you may have got the person you want, because very few people fight CPS. Very people do it. And Vincent Davis, by the way, who I mentioned in the beginning of the show, has done that. He's won millions of dollars. He's a trial attorney. He's been practicing law for 35 years. And he's available to talk to you for 15 minutes for free if you be a guest on our podcast, or if you call in and be call in, you can get 15 minutes. Also, I have another plan that I can go with him that for 30 minutes, you can talk to him for $60. For 30 minutes, you can talk to him for $60. You just go, and the thing is shown at the bottom of the webpage, but you go to the website, http colon / let me see here. I forgot an important letter of the https colon / You always want to use the https colon / because that's how the certificate is verified. Then after that, you type in the word Candly, CALENDLY.com / apps, APPTS, VWD / Bob Pace. When you go there, you book a consultation with them for 30 minutes with your credit card. And you can talk to them for 30 minutes. You'd be charged $60 for 30 minutes. It'd be the best 30 minutes. So that's the third way that you can get a hold of Mr. Davis. A fourth way is to listen to his podcast on Saturday. Every Saturday, he has a podcast. And a fifth way is the phone number that I got on my page, 888-888-6582. So there's 5 ways that you can talk to a real attorney, a real dependency family law attorney, somebody that represented me. I know from firsthand experience, he got my children back. He's a fighter. He's a pit bull attorney. He can practice anywhere. In California, he has cases in LA County, Orange County, San Bernardino County. He has Northern California. His office is Arcadia, south of LA. But he has a case in Oklahoma. And he'd go to Missouri. He would go to Maine. He'll go to any state in the country. He has a fee. And his biggest expense is not necessarily his legal fees, is his transportation to there and his ground transportation driving around and hotel and food. Those are the only added expenses he'd have besides his legal fees. So you can't go wrong with Mr. Davis. I mean, I'm telling you right now, your research is over. He is the person that you want to have represent you, and you need to have an attorney. A lot of you are going to sit there and tell me court-appointed attorneys. What do you think about a court-appointed attorney, Natalie?
Well, it depends, okay? I'm not going to...
Well, I want your opinion. You have had a court...
In my opinion, okay, when the first court-appointed attorney I had, she was okay. I mean, they had to exchange her. They got somebody else, and he was okay, but he didn't do much. But then, when I got Mike, he was really good. I mean, it was that, because he actually cared and stuff. And then later he became private, so I ended up paying for him. So it depends on who you get. And sometimes, yes, some of them they don't do much because they have too much burden to in their caseload. But it depends. I'm not putting the attorneys back, but I don't
like to put the child protection people down, the social workers or the attorneys.
No, I'm not putting the attorneys
No.
down.
I didn't say you are.
I didn't say you are. It depends on who you're going to get as a court-appointed attorney. But if you're willing to pay and find a good attorney, that's even better. So, but I actually had one time my dad represent me because they were trying to take away my second daughter, and I won.
Yeah.
So
let me tell you about court-appointed attorneys from my experience and talking to people on the show. Most of the time, court-appointed attorneys have a caseload of 30 or more clients. So they don't have the time to fight your case. They don't have the expertise because they're not criminal. They're criminal attorneys. They're not dependency attorneys. They're not schooled well in how to fight family juvenile dependency court. Also, they are paid by social services. And so there's a conflict of interest there. Who do they owe their allegiance to? To you, the client,
No, that's a
or to
county
social
council.
like that? So anyway, the court-appointed attorneys, in my experience, and from talking to all the people, have turned out to be disappointment. People have really lost their kids because they won't fight. They're not fighters. And also, the social services want you. The CPS wants you to use a court-appointed attorney because they can manipulate them. If your children get a court-appointed attorney and a husband and wife get a court-appointed attorney, there you go. You got a courtroom full of court-appointed attorneys and social worker attorneys that are friends with the court-appointed, and the judges, they go play golf.
Minors cancel. Minors cancel is paid, through
right. So the minors council is a court-appointed. So CPS.
There's a court-appointed for CPS for the child, and they have county counsel represents the prosecution side for the social services. But
maybe that is true in LA County, but in Orange County, they don't have county. They have what's called a court-appointed attorney that just came out of law school that is not working for the county, not working for the city, but works for social services. That's where their paycheck comes.
Oh, okay, that's different.
Yeah,
because in LA
that is
County,
Orange County. Yeah, that's Orange County.
LA County, they have Ladle, okay, LADL, and Ladle works for its own group. And yes, it does get funding from the county, but it depends on the attorney. The attorney that I had, he had many years experience. So it was just that the problem was
you were lucky. You were lucky.
It was irrespective to the law. So she violated I'll get into the sections, but she violated the placement of the children through sibling placement. So there's in the ICPC, because somehow it's we'll talk about that later, but this is the transfer of the child to state. But that's what happened. And so yes, I was lucky to know him, and he did, and he was Mr. Davis's colleague.
Okay, well let me read a little bit about the court-appointed attorneys. Both court-appointed attorneys and public defenders are fully licensed lawyers. Both are paid by the state or federal government, but court-appointed attorneys are paid by the hour, while public defenders are salary employees. So they have public defenders for criminal cases. They don't use public defenders in dependency court. Public defenders are when you're charged of a crime and you don't have money to have an attorney, then they have what's called a public defender. But the court-appointed attorneys are paid by the state and federal government, but who controls the funds for the state or federal government for those attorneys is the child protection system. That's what I was trying to say. That's something behind the scenes that not very many people know. There's so many behind the scenes of corruption. There's a lady, Nancy Schaefer in Georgia, a senator of Georgia, that was murdered. And she, for a long time, well into her 70s, had been an advocate of fighting CPS. She wanted to abolish CPS and start all over. And it's sad because she was an advocate and strongly helped everybody, but then she was murdered. They're saying it's something else.
The story of Nancy Schaefer is because, like you said, she was an advocate she was a senator in Georgia, and she was an advocate for parents and kids. And she didn't want anybody to have their kids in the system anymore because she was noticing the corruption and how much they were stealing the money and stealing the kids. And so she had a press conference about why it's wrong, and then they need to bring more kids merchandise to sell. So that upset a lot of people in Congress, and then it also set more people in the DHS over there in Georgia. And so her husband was handicapped. He was in a wheelchair. I guess he suffered a stroke or something. And the story goes that he shot her, but there's so much suspicion. We still believe that CPS.
Well, there's been a lot of stories. There's never been an improvement about how the husband-wife. they have set up a story that the husband was suicide. He shot his wife and shot himself, but he had no financial debts. He had no financial problems. There's nothing in his life that would do that. That's what's so bad. The people that knew them, the children knew their parents well. They knew their parents weren't those kinds of people. So there's a lot of story, and so they're going to try to hide underneath the cover. They're going to try to hide underneath the rug.
They're going to hide it, and also the thing is that when you're dealing with CPS, you always have to hide for the feds. Not hide, but you have to be alert.
Well, they're going to try to sweep underneath the cover.
No matter what.
They're going to try to sweep it.
They want to cover up stuff, and they want to make your life miserable.
Right.
Because no matter what, even if you won your child back, they'll still come back and harass you.
Okay.
That's what they do. And Mike told me a story where he was my attorney. He told me that he had a client, and she was in the middle of getting the kid back, but she was getting overnights and all that, and finally she got the kid back. So, but they actually sat for 4 months outside of her house.
Okay. Yeah.
Like harassing her.
Right. There is a lot of behind the scenes and a lot of things that swept beneath the carpet. All you have to do is talk about the pink ladies in Prescott, Arizona. Those pink ladies. Now, the ladies weren't pink, but they chose the color pink on a T-shirt. Now, we all know that pink is a color for breast awareness. So why these ladies chose pink, I don't know what it does to do with CPS. But
it's just like motherhood or friendliness or calmness.
I don't know.
Paint your room pink.
All I know is that what they had stenciled on the T-shirt, they had what was stenciled on the T-shirt, they're professional child kidnappers. And on the back, they said, parents, do you know where your children are at? Now, what kind of message would that tell you families out there if you have social workers that are parading around like that in Prescott, Arizona? Now, this happened in
That's a very sick thing.
Yeah, it happened in 2022. And Prescott is known for the Billy Jack movies. That's where the Billy Jack movies were filmed. There's also some Indian reservations there. But these 8 social workers had 25 years of experience. Why would they do that? Why would they parade at Costco, Walmart, Kmart? Why would they do that?
It's advertisement. It's like when you're crazy and you don't, but they feel that that's their privilege. Like their privilege.
They're not doing advertisement. They're trying to do what's called intimidation. It's called intimidation.
It's both because they're advertising their wickedness. You see, they live with the wicked ones.
Yeah.
So there.
Anyway, they were being intimidators. And that's what I'm telling you, that social workers are corrupt. These ladies in Prescott, Arizona were fired. They got out, they found out really quick, and they were fired, as well as the director. But that hurt the child protection system because it left them only one person to handle all the calls on protecting our children from neglect and abuse. So that was a sad tragedy. Not only did they send an incorrect message that people now think social workers are kidnappers or alienators, that they want to make sure that you never see your child again. And that was 2022. And that's just one example. I can tell you about the example of my daughter. I have 6 children. I'm a family man. I've been married twice. I was married for 10 years. And then I married for another 31. I'm going to move you out there, Natalie, so that KK can talk. Hey, KK.
Hi, Bob. It's KK.
Yeah, I just had to put Natalie off because I want to get your chance to call there. So tell me, how did your show go?
It went really well, and my cousin actually participated. I kind of brought her on as one of the guests that could actually speak, with experience about CPS. She's in Florida. So, it was really nice. It was a really interactive show. And I think I forgot, she was on your show, and I was giving her the Facebook name. I forgot what her name was, but she came on as well.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Right. Well, I want to first thank Natalie for calling in. I'm sorry I had to cut you off, but I wanted to hear about KK's show. How come I can't find you on Facebook?
I'm KK Richardson. It's K's Corner.
Is that KAY and then CORNER? All I found was clothing. All I found was ladies with clothing.
No, I'm KAYKA. I'm going to put it up for you.
Yeah, my problem is I probably didn't have it spelled right.
It's fine.
But I want to tell you that Faye and I were trying to support you. Now, what's the latest about your case? Tell us, everybody. We want to hear on needles right now.
Okay, so as you know, we go back for fact finding November 18th, and as of right now, the foster care agency is, again, like you said, on the ropes. I just got a call from one of the case planners at the foster care agency letting me know that my child was injured because she was taking her therapeutic medication, and she became aggressive with the foster parent and tried to assault her. The foster parent, in turn, used the wrong strategies and injured my child. So, when the case planner reached out to me a day after the incident happened, I was concerned on why my child was injured if certain strategies were implemented by the foster parent to have that training for that situation.
Mm-hmm.
And did my child get my child get an evaluation? And if she didn't, that's medical neglect. And if she did, you failed to get my authorization.
Yeah.
Either way, you messed up.
Wow.
Yes. So I, as of today, I reached out to the foster care agency and the Office of Family and Children Services to inquire about the SCR that was made, for this incident.
Okay.
I was told.
Now, what is the SAR for all the listeners out there may not know that? What is an SAR?
Oh, the SCR is a state registry complaint.
The state registered complaint, SRC?
SCR, statewide, I'm sorry, SC, yeah.
Say it again?
SRC, statewide registry complaint, yes.
Yes, it's a statewide registered complaint, SRC. Okay, all right.
SRC, yeah. So, once I told the case planner from the foster care agency I was going to make a complaint based on, failure to acknowledge, the medical need of therapeutic evaluation. And if that was done, where was my consent and why wasn't it asked for? And because I definitely didn't give it. And prior to that, last Friday, we had a meeting with all parties on the case planning team from the foster care agency, including the vice president, Ms. Shanna Gonzalez of Hardship St. Vincent Services, who expressed the do's and don'ts of a foster care agency when it comes to medical, therapeutic, and educational needs for a child in New York City. So when she stated from her mouth to my ears on a recorded conversation, because I record everything with them and they know that they cannot get therapeutic evaluation or any type of service without a parent's consent when rights are intact. Because my child was imbalanced because she was not on her psychotropic medication, there are two things wrong with that issue. One, according to a psychiatrist and a therapeutic clinician in New York City, stating, based on my child's diagnosis, in order for her to deteriorate and destabilize at that rate to cause that much aggression, she would have to be imbalanced for a minimum of 2 to 4 days. So the fact that she's been in this foster parent's home for almost 2 years and she has not realized the signs and symptoms of, equilibrium imbalance based on lack of psychotropic ingestion, that is negligence and lack of supervision at its finest. 2, if that level of aggression arose, why wasn't EMS called? And 3, if you were trained properly using those SCIP tactics, and SCIP stands for strategies, crisis, intervention, and preparation, for children that have emotional disturbance that, manifest to aggression where they have to restrain the child for their safety and the child's safety. So because she failed to implement the proper procedures for that, my child was injured. Because in no way, Mr. Bob, could my child's face be injured if she used the right tactics. She might have fell on her butt, or on her side, but not on her face.
Okay.
So, when I expressed that to the emergency response worker from CPS, she tried to be a little sarcastic when asking me, was I a clinician? And I had to express to her, no, I'm not a clinician, but I am a licensed New York City FDNY paramedic for the last 15 years.
Okay.
I have been out of work due to medical, and I just passed my nurse practitioner course. So, based on the medical knowledge that I have in collateral with the clinicians that I have been in contact with on a weekly basis, and the information they have given me according to the DSS, that information that I have given that worker has been confirmed and solidified to be, the right information that evidently they didn't have. So it insults me a little bit that you're calling me as an emergency response worker, and yet you don't have any information on the things that you're responding to, but you're questioning me, and we're looking at the same connection of.
Right. Now, I wanted to say that Natalie says hi, KK. She wanted to tell you hi.
Hi, Natalie.
Yeah.
So it's just, when the foster care director decided that she was going to retire November 1st, I've never heard of a CPS worker retiring after 10 years, unless they're either being forced to retire or if they have done something that requires legal interaction, which hence my civil lawsuit, Mr. Bob, because they have failed to honor the commitments of their job scope by implementing reunification efforts, services, and resources to mend the family toxicity that they have caused on more than one occasion by negligence or failure to adhere to their job. It makes it a little insulting and disappointing that we have to rely on agencies like this to give the determination on whether our children can come home or not. But yet you say a person is mentally unstable, but a person is the legal authorized signer for their children's educational, therapeutic, medical, religious, and overall well-being. So how can they be impaired if they are giving legal consent in the case?
Well, right now, it seems like the way Natalie explained her case is that they got carried away. The sheriff did. It was a woman sheriff. And they arrested her because Natalie had shown them a letter she received from a guy that was crazy, and they thought that she wrote the letter. And right away, they made assumptions. And it's sad because right now, the police have the authority to tell people if they're crazy enough and arrest them. They can arrest you for all kinds of things that are stupid. They're your civil rights. So, yeah, I know. It's really crazy. It's scary because the police are supposed to serve. They're supposed to be proud and serve the public, but instead they're taking advantage and making life miserable. I know that Natalie, she's been on my show numerous times. She has no mental issues. She's fine. And it's just sad that they thought she did and wasted her time for 72 hours. Yeah. Now, Jessica Lake, are you still out there from Missouri, Columbus, Missouri? I wanted to hear about your case also. I had KK and Natalie, but also...
I posted it by my name.
Okay.
On Facebook, and this is my Facebook platform.
Okay.
So Cave Corner, that's the other one.
I'll have to write it down by hand. Hold on.
But yeah, I mean, some of those podcasts are, a little over, and that's because that was before I got a little handle on my impulse. But you can see the receipt.
Okay, yeah, I didn't have K's with a corner KOR. Okay, I had C. That's why I couldn't find it. I didn't know it would be with a K. You love K's. You love K's. Now, can I replay that video on your webpage?
Yes, you definitely can.
Okay, good. So we can hear that. All right, we have about we got to wrap it up because we're less than a minute left, and I want to make sure we stop the show. So, KK, it was good. I'm glad you gave me an update. Please stay in touch. Natalie, I appreciate you calling in. You're always so diligent to be here for my show. Jessica Lake from Missouri, I wanted to hear more from you and stuff. So I want to, thank you. God bless all you people. I'll be on tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Don't forget, Friday night, I come on at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Saturday at 8 o'clock in the morning, and Sunday at 8 o'clock in the morning. And so God bless you all. Keep fighting for your kids. And there will be a brief a message from my attorney about his upcoming podcast. Good night. Bob Pace signing off.
Hi, I'm attorney Vincent Davis, and I've been fighting CPS for over 35 years. Through my years of experience, I've gained invaluable insights that I'm ready to share with you. If you're a parent or a caregiver or a relative, we need to talk. I'm offering a new opportunity for you to speak with me on a one-on-one basis. Ask me any questions, and I'll provide you with the insight you need to take steps in your CPS case. Members get everything they need to gain confidence and the knowledge that they need to support necessary to truly fight back. And as a special thank you for attending, I have a special offer just for you. Don't miss out. Join us, and let's take that next step together. I'll see you at the question and answer event.